Hello everyone, my name is Emi. Today I will explain to chapter 1 is introduction. A. The background of research. Vocabulary as one of language component is a very important thing. Besides of the language component, without vocabulary, people will not be able to say anything. And B. The research question. According to the problems that the writer described above, she formulates a research question. C. The objective of research. The objective of the research are to improve the student achievement and enrich student vocabulary by using word cards. And D. The significance of research in conducting this research. In conducting in this research, the writer will get knowledge how to use word cards in enriching learning. And D. The limitation of research. This research is conducted in Nusantara, Vocational High School Class 9. Semester 2. It is all about using word cards in enriching student vocabulary. And F. The method of research. In this research, the writer gives our pretest to the student, which consists of vocabulary knowledge based on their English material. It is given to know their vocabulary mastery.
Workets. 1. The definition of workets. Worket is one of teaching vocabulary techniques suggested by Polynesian is the book New Words is teaching vocabulary and learn vocabulary in other languages. Nation proverb a systematic technique is teaching vocabulary to incidents, incident, incidental approach. 2. Technique is using workers. There are some techniques that teacher can use to teaching vocabulary by using workers. Scott Thorbury has suggested some steps that teacher can do in teaching vocabulary to workers. There are 3. Some activities is using workers. For teaching and testing, association games, Guess My Word, the wallet word, ghost writing, categories back to board, a picture.
Okay, next I want to explain about Capture 3. Capture 3 is research methodology. A. The objectives of research. The objectives of this research are to improve students' achievement and enrich students' vocabulary by using word cards. Next, B. The place and time. This research is conducted in SMK Nusantara at Tarumanegara number 1, Nisangan, Ciputat on April 2011. The object of the research is students of SMK Nusantara at marketing program class 11 at second semester. Next, C. The research design. In this research, the writer uses action research designed by Chemist Taggart. This research and then focuses on organizing students' vocabulary by using word cards. The design of classroom action research is as follows: plan action. Plan action is about observe and reflect, and then next revise plan action is about reflect and observe. Next, I want to explain about based on the design above. The writer describes the research design below about the research cycles design. First is introduction, third is planning 1, next third is acting 1, and then fourth observing 1. Next is 5 is reflecting 1, and the next reflecting 1 means then reflecting 1 in here about evaluating, and then 7 is acting 2. Next 8 about observing 1. Next 9 about reflecting 2, and the last one is about evaluating all cycles in this research cycles design. And the next D, the procedures of research. In the procedures of research is about planning, acting, observing, and then reflecting. First, about the planning. After finding the vocabulary problems in the classroom proven by observing and interviewing, the writer gives the test and then plans the techniques and instruments that she will use in solving those problems, such as preparing the lesson and syllabus. Next, about acting. In this phase, both the writer and teacher collaborate to carry out the plan action. And then, the writer determines the strategy that is applied in the classroom. She changes the teacher's position in conducting this research. With the teacher observe the condition and activities in classroom. It's about observing. In this phase, the teacher observes the activities occurring in the classroom and not all on the note field or unstructured observational sheet. When the teacher is observing, she notes all the activities. It could be about students' response and classroom condition or weather as teacher performance. And the next word about reflecting. This stretch is aimed to reflect own action based on the data collected by either teacher or writer. It is from observation and test when they still find the problems they repair in the next cycle by replanning, reacting, and re-observing. And the next E, collecting data techniques. First is about observation. In this classroom action research, the writer chooses participant observation. The writer worked with the English teacher in conducting the research. The writer changed teacher position, and then while the teacher has role as an observer. And the next 2 is interview. Besides observation, the writer also conducts an interview as the way in collecting data. And then the writer conducted an interview with the teacher to know about the class and the students' capability in English, especially vocabulary mastery. Next, about objective tests. There are sometimes questions that the writer uses here. The test consists of 40 questions. Part A, finding the meaning consisting of 5 questions. Part B is 10 multiple choice questions. And then part C, matching the synonym. And then matching the synonym, 15 questions. And then part D is guessing word meaning in sentence consisting 10 questions. And then next, 3, documentation. The writer uses documentation as one way to collect the data. It includes learning syllabus and then program planning. And the next, about F, data analysis techniques. The data that writer collect in this research are from interview, observation, and tests. In analyzing numerical data, the writer gains the average student score in each cycles. It is used to measure the student's vocabulary mastery and then use the formula. And the next G, the trustworthiness of tests. The validity test is regarded as a valid test when it measures what must be measured. It could be about the representation of test toward the material that is being given for the students, about content validity, or toward the interior of cognitive aspect or concept validity. And the next H, about the criterion of the action success. BCAR can be called successful if it can achieve the criteria which have been determined, and then failed it cannot achieve the criteria. In the study, based on the minimal mastery criteria ketuntasan minimal of SMK Nusantara, students can pass the English test if they get score 75 or above. So that the writer use the same criterion for the CAR. In this edition, the CAR can be called successful if the student getting 71 above is 70% or above. Okay, this is about Capture 3. Next.
Research finding. A. Before implementing CAR. First, the result of interview. It was unstructured interview. The writer gave some question for the student related to the teaching and learning vocabulary. The question could be about the teaching that the teacher used is presenting new vocabulary. Then, the writer found the technique is monotone. The teacher gave some vocabulary taken from student book. Then she asked them to memorize the whole vocabulary in addition. The teacher also asked the student memorize some conversation to make them bored, and then easily forget what they. 2. Pre-observation. From the pre-observation, the writer saw the technique is teacher used is presenting new vocabulary. Was memorized, the teacher chose some word from the student book, and then the student memorized the whole word. 3. The result of pre-test. Before implementing CAR, the writer gave the student pre-test. It was done to know the student vocabulary mastery. Therefore, she could compare the from pre-test and post-test. The test include multiple choice. It can be seen there is only one student passing KKM by score 76, while the rest allow 75. After giving the pre-test, the writer concludes the student below is the student's score for the pre-test. From the data above, it can be seen that they see only the student passing KKM the score 76, while there is lower than 75. B. The implementation of CAR. First, cycle 1. A. Planning. The writer choose word case is interesting student.
vocabulary in the observation. The writer made the student previous some word cards. They just need to cut their paper into small parts. It's considered of 30 cards. B. Acting. 45. In the first meeting, the writer made some list of the word. The student copied the word in their card, then word in. B. The implementation of CAR. First, cycle 1. A. Planning. The writer choose word case is interesting student. Vocabulary in the observation. The writer made the student previous some word cards. They just need to cut their paper into small parts. It's considered of 30 cards. B. Acting. 45. In the first meeting, the writer made some list of the word. The student copied the word in their card, then word include 30 words to each had to one. C. Observation. The teacher prefers some not sit nothing the class activity as the writer mentioned in the press. The present vocabulary by word cards, the student can check memories in prior. D. Replanting. After doing all the praises, the author gave some post-test then. Prepare of the score between the post and pre-test whenever that were an improvement or not. He is table of student post-test. In the first cycle, there was only 15 had post KKM, however is significant improve. From mean 54.4 of 74 in overcoming the student who did not prepare the student card. The writer made the student work in pair. The student who did not prepare the word cards should have to correct it with the student who did. It did not only result efficiency is time, but also train them to work in time. 2. Cycle 2. A. Planning. In the last meeting of Cycle 2, the writer gets students to make the conversation in pair. It was written conversation. The topic was about asking permission. Then the writer made them process of conversation in pair. B. Acting. In the first meeting, the writer reviewed all of the vocabulary that she has present. It was by using back to board game. She chose one of the students to come forward and back to the board, and then writer word and word whiteboard. The duty of the student was asking the whole case of using yes or no question. C. Observation. In the first cycle, the teacher found the students still had bad memorized. When they were asked to recall the word, they only can remember the 5 words. However, in their cycle, she got the student had better entrustment. Many students were have to give teacher question in English, and they actively respond the teacher question. Sign the class were more interesting and communicative. D. Replanting. In the second cycle, student vocabulary mastery was better than its first. It was shown the student capability to recall the word and their translation. In addition, they got the better seconds than the first. Below is the student post-test 70 score. It was cycle, the student get better score. There were 25 students had researched KKM, and this will also improve from 75 to 18.4. Students also could recall else in word under their writer. C. The discussion of data after CAR. First, the result of post-interview. After doing CAR, the writer concluded in the post-interview to the student. It was answer action interview. She gave some questions related to the vocabulary mastery. She said getting new vocabulary by using word what is a nice activity. It also helped them is interesting their vocabulary. Then could take their cards on their packet and could open every time that she wants. 2. The result of post-test. In the part, the writer compare and give the result of pre-test, post-test, first and second. Based on the table above, it's now the mean score before implementing CAR is only 54.4. There is only one student passing KKM. From the conclusion, it is 1 to present of student passing KKM is only 0.44%. There is only one student passing KKM from 29 students is said that student vocabulary mastery is very low. D. The interpretation of data. In post-test first, it was concluded in the first cycle of CAR, the mean of student score was 75. The present of student getting 75 or above was 41.72.
So guys, I will read a conclusion and suggestion from our discussion. In this research, the writer used classroom action research. It is the research the first introduced by Kurt Lewin. There are so many models which can be used here. Here, the writer used chemist and Taggart models as the writer has mentioned in chapter 3. This research includes some steps need to be carried out in conducting the research. The writer also needs to calculate fidelity index, index difficulty, and index facility of tests. Those are done to get a good test. From this research, the writer found that using word card is a good way to be applied in SMK Nusantara class 11th grade. In pretest, there was only a student passing KKM. The percentage of student passing KKM was only 3.44%. It was